Springfield Armory has been making carry guns for a long time, and they are a trusted brand. But if you look at this gun, you're going to think, wait a minute, what's this back here? It's an external hammer. The XDE, Stephanie,
yes.
Tell me about it.
So this is our first polymer hammer-fired pistol, and what's really cool about this is it's double action, single action. So what that means is when with the first initial trigger pull, it's long and deliberate, and then with every consecutive shot after that, it's a single action. So the trigger is really light, crisp, and clean, and we really feel like we've been able to get a great combination of the authenticity and the integrity of the double action trigger with the single action trigger as well.
Okay, so a double action trigger pull is going to be like this. You're actually pulling the hammer back. But once the gun cycles, you're going to have a single action trigger pull, which is much lighter, and the reset is shorter, which for a lot of people are going to like this because they can carry the gun, decock it, and run the thumb safety, which is an ambi thumb safety. So you can kind of have that belt and suspender system if you want to do both. I probably would just carry it decocked. But you said there's another thing about this. It's easier to rack the slide.
Yes, it's actually 27% easier to rack the slide than the top 3 firearm manufacturers.
That's huge. For a lot of people, that's a big concern when they're looking at guns. So, you know, this is kind of a nice carry size gun. It's a 9mm, it's single stack. Okay, the XDE from Springfield Armory, you're gonna wanna check this one out.
This is the Springfield Armory XDE, a new pistol from Springfield Armory. It is a double action, single action gun with a decocker. Now, whenever you're shooting a DASA gun, there's a couple things that you want to consider and need to train for and prepare for. The most important being the trigger press. Keep in mind that first trigger press is going to be a long double action press to get the hammer to come all the way back and go back forward to hit that firing pin. Your follow-on shots are going to be single action, and you're going to have that slack in the trigger. So if you notice when I decock, right here, the hammer's got to go all the way back and bang, hit that firing pin. It's a long, hard, sturdy pull. The follow-up shots are going to be single action. I'm going to have all this slack in the trigger that I need to take up before I can begin my trigger press. Let's go ahead and get it hot, and I'll show you live. All right, so I've decocked. My first shot's double action, long hard trigger press. My follow-up shots are single action, so I'm gonna let the trigger out to the resets, click, take up the slack, and press the shot again. And it's a lot quicker that way. Now remember, when you come back in before you holster, you have to make sure you decock. So do your search and assess, make sure you assess everything, and then decock the pistol before you go to holster. I tell people check it before you holster up. And just like anything new, anything different, you gotta get out to the range and train it. It's gonna feel different than a striker fired gun. It's gonna feel different than a single action cocked and locked gun. So make sure you get out to the range and get some time out there shooting it.